Are you in for another manifesting win, my friends? I know I am. This video answers a subscriber's question for a deep dive into how do they manifest their desires, even though the 3D world is saying the opposite. Does this sound familiar? In this video, I'm going to flip the focus from the subscriber's outer world into the inner world, since your outer world reflects what's going on within you. Who do you say you are? And until you know yourself, you will not be known. So are you ready to discover who you are? Buckle up, my manifesting friends, because we are in for another wild and fun manifestation ride. First, I want to thank you for being here and viewing this video. You found it at the perfect time. And I want to thank my subscriber for bringing this topic to my attention for a deeper dive. And you too, my manifesting friends, may relate to some of these topics or all of them. So here's exactly what he states, and I'm going to read this to you. I'm 69 years young, and I'm not on any medical medication whatsoever. And as per the invitation to dive deeper, I'm requesting a video to help me and anyone else who's interested with these 5 goals. Number 1, I want to be 25 biologically again. Number 2, I want to be perfectly healthy. Number 3, I want to be financially independent. Number 4, I want to be happy. Number 5, I want to live forever as a young, healthy, rich, and happy physical human being. I graciously await your response. Okay. And you could have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 500, 5,000, however many topics you want to add to the list, because it doesn't matter what the topic is. The core of what we're going to talk about today works for any topic, whether it's the 5 that we mentioned, an SP, a new job, a new house, a new car, $1 million, it doesn't matter. But he also stated that this request for me was not going to be easy. This was not going to be an easy video to create. And I respectfully disagree. Not only is this video easy, I'm having a blast doing it. The pre-video prep, the recording of the video, putting it up on YouTube, I'm enjoying every step of the way of this. And I know you will enjoy this video because there's something in here for you. And I double dog dare you to stay to the end, because this request, his request, is your request. How do I know? Simply because you are here. In order for you to find this video and for this video to find you, you had to have these questions within you. And this interaction here is what your mind pushed out for you to find. My intention for you at the conclusion of our discussion today is to not only help my subscriber find the answers within himself, but you too. Never take anything I say or any other teacher or guide as truth. I can lead you with my words, but it's up to you to allow yourself to have the experience of what it is that we're talking about for it to become your truth. So for example, as a personal trainer, I can explain an exercise to you. I can take you into the gym and I can demonstrate the exercise for you. But the one thing I can't do is I can't do it for you. You got to allow yourself to have the experience of you doing the exercise. Let your experience be your ultimate teacher. So welcome back to the Invincible CEO YouTube channel, the place where we make manifesting easy and fun like it was supposed to be. I'm going to give you everything I got to answer the above questions so that you will say to yourself at the end of this video, wait, Didi, oh my God. It's that simple, really? Wow, just wow. My intention for all my viewers and clients is to help you connect to yourself so deeply you will no longer need me to guide you, to help you make such strong, clear, conscious choices in the now moment that doubt and fear can no longer stand a chance within the mind that is the new you. So your first powerful manifestation decision is to stay to the end of this video, because I've already manifested that for the both of us, and we will both be sharing in the fulfillment of each other's desires. My name is Didi Povertink, and I'm the Invincible CEO. I am the last most exciting manifestation coach you will ever need. I'm really just a big kid at heart, and I think you're learning that here. And I've dedicated my life to guide others to make the most powerful, conscious decisions now and anchor into those choices so deeply. Manifestation is meant to be natural, easy, and fun because it's all you're ever doing 24/7. So join me as I help you cut to the front of the line of your deepest desires and manifest with ease. Why? Because I want to see you win, and I want to see you win big all the time. This channel is all about you winning big quickly while experiencing fulfillment of your most inner desires to live an amazing life you love. So Let's begin. Okay, my wonderful subscriber, here we go, and all my wonderful viewers. And if you're just here viewing, why not let's take that leap together and hit that subscribe button. Okay, my dear subscriber, we have so much to unpack here, so much fun to be had. If you have any questions at any time, please put them in the comment section and I will get to them as soon as I can. You want to be biologically 25 again, you want to be happy, you want to be healthy, you want to be financially independent. And I say, wow, what a hyperbolic mind you have. Because those are goals, and there's nothing wrong with them, right? And I'm going to poke a little fun here because you asked me to, so that know that this is all done in love. But they're very hyperbolic, they're very vague. And so what does it mean to you to be 25 biologically again? What does it mean to be perfectly healthy? What does it mean to be financially independent? Because you're financially independent, my financially independent, and the other viewers financially independent could be totally different things. So it sounds like to me right off the bat, you don't have a defined jump off point. Now you're going to hear me say the word jump off point, and you're going to also hear me say starting line. It's the same thing. You're also going to hear me say wish fulfilled, done deal, or finish line. It's all the same thing. So if I bounce around between the two of those, know that jump off and starting line and done deal, wish fulfilled, and finish line, they're all the same thing. And then what happens, we have that middle section where people just lose their mind because it's not happening fast enough. But you got to understand, you have to answer the questions. Who are you? And where are you? That's going to be two big questions. But what I like to do is I take this manifesting thing that can be a little woo-woo, that can be a little abstract conceptually, and let's use some real life examples, because the same thing we do in our real life logical analytical examples we do with manifesting, we just don't realize it. So you may know that I'm a fraud investigator, I'm an interrogator, but I'm also a personal trainer and nutritionist and Reiki Grandmaster, 9th degree Reiki Grandmaster. But so I gave an example about being a personal trainer earlier, but let's say someone came to me. I do personalized nutrition programs from the everyday person to someone who wants to get up on the bodybuilding stage. And we take 3 months. And you'll hear me mention this 3-month period because in those 12 weeks, in those 84 days, in those really 90 days, we can work magic. We can work magic. And the very lowest level of manifestation is repetition, right? Root chakra repetition. And I'll do a whole other video on, once we hit that 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do the video on how you can use your chakras to understand manifesting, because I don't think you're going to find that anywhere else. Okay. But at the very least, we can say through repetition, if you eat a certain way, you're going to get certain results. And again, these are stories that we put ourselves into. And people say to me, should I do Atkins? Should I do South Beach? Should I do a calorie deficit? Which one works the best? They all work. It's just which one do you want to work within? That's the big question here. So if we go and you were to come to me for a nutrition plan, we're going to measure 30 different points for your jump off, right? We're going to do scale weight. We're going to do measurements, body measurements, and I take at least 12 to 15 different body measurements. We're going to measure how you sleep. We're going to measure your oxygen level. We're going to measure your hydration level. So many different points, body fat, right? BMI, so many different levels of measurement, because I, as your nutritionist, need to have a very defined starting line, jump off. Because then we'll say, well, where do you want to be, right? Because everybody's all about the finish line. If I have $500 in my account and I want 10,000, we have the 500 as the jump off. We have the 10,000 as the finish line, right? So what I would say first here is each one of your talking points here, and I know there's more than that. And for those of you guys that are watching, there's my you guys, I'm from Philly. You can tell when the you guys comes in, I'm going into my Philly mode. But when you decide to have a goal, there should be a start off, a jump off. There should be a finish line. Don't worry about the middle. Don't worry about the middle. Because we need to be able to look for evidence of progress. Because if we can find the evidence, now proof is the final destination, but along the middle, if we can see the progress happening, because sometimes manifestation is always instant, you just don't see it instantly. So when I talk about the evidence, it's the unfolding, it's the realization more and more and more of the manifestation unfolding. And a lot of times, as Neville Goddard said, we see the bridge of incidents after the fact, But one of the things that I love teaching people is that you can have the evidence along the way. You'll still get your bridge of incident. You're not going to deny yourself that. But along the way, it's nice to know that you have that evidence showing up. So let me give you an example too, that if you're normally 160 pounds and you gain 40 pounds and now you're 200, and you've been on and off the scale along the way, and on the way up as you were gaining weight, at that 180, you're like, oh, I can't believe I'm 180, but then you end up going a little further and you're 200. And that 180, which I'm going to say to you, is just numbers on the screen. It's just numbers on the scale. It doesn't have any meaning of it in of itself that it's just 180, because it's all about your perspective. Once you start losing the weight and you come down from 200 to 180, you're jumping for joy at that 180. So you have to know, are you going towards your done deal or are you going away from it? And that perspective will always, when you have this beautiful template, you'll put a story onto that scale at 180, because the scale is the scale and the 180 is the 180. We put a story over top of what's just happening. And you'll hear me say that a lot. What's just happening is happening. So in the world of manifestation, if you step on the scale, that's what's happening. You stepped on the scale. And then while you're on the scale, you look at numbers, and that's just what's happening. There's numbers on a scale. But then we make it personal, and it all depends in which direction we're going, that 180 is the same 180. It just has a different meaning for you where in your journey. So that's important. That's why having these little points of measurement are so important. Okay, so going back to the nutrition plan, we take all of those. So for your, I want to be perfectly healthy, what does that mean to you? What does that look like for you? Now, I have a personal manifestation story that after I had my 5th child, I ended up with a stomach bug. And because when he was a newborn and I was still nursing and nursing very often, and it was just like having a stomach bug and nursing was just a feat in itself. But then having 4 other children, and the oldest was 9 at the time, that had to get off to school, had to go to 3 different schools because of the different ages of the kids. Thank goodness for the beautiful community of friends that I had that helped me at the time. But it still left me home with my newborn going through all this. And I remember I had had enough. It was like all day long. And I don't know who I was declaring it to, but I put the baby down and I said, that is it. I'm done with being sick. I've had enough stomach bugs. I've had enough allergies. I've had enough flus. I've had enough fevers. I'm done with it. And this was back in 2005. I didn't realize at the time, this is why we're manifesting all the time when we don't realize it. But I made such a powerful declaration. I don't have time for this, that to this day, I have never, and when I say never, I'm going to be hyperbolic, I have never been sick again. Not a stomach bug, not a flu, not a fever, not a sniffle, not a nothing. And I didn't realize what I had done until years had passed and everyone around me is falling like flies, but not me. And I don't even now go into realities where that even exists. And I can speak of it because that kind of debunks another myth that you shouldn't talk about the opposite of what it is that you want. That's BS. I'm going to call out a lot of BS on a lot of this manifestation stuff that's out here. Because I talk about that, I can say I'm healthy all the time. I'm on the healthy dot. But I also can talk about sickness because I know other people experience it, but they don't even experience it in front of me anymore. Like, that's how much I've created and pushed that out into my reality. So not only me, so if there's someone I know and they're not feeling well, they won't even interact with me at that time. They won't even mention it after the fact. That's how powerful your mind is. You have to define your dot. So if you're on the healthy dot, and I'm going to say something really profound here. If you're on the healthy dot is the healthy dot. You never get sick. And if you're on the sick dot, you're on the sick dot. Now, when we bring in the law of gender, which is active and passive, if you're on the healthy dot, there's active health and there's passive health, but there's never any sickness. And now let me show you how when people think they're healthy, they're really on the sick dot. If there's active and passive sickness on the sick dot, active sickness, you know when you're actively sick. You have a fever, you're just not feeling well. That's actively being sick. But passively being sick, meaning that there's no symptoms, but you could get sick at any time, means that you're being passively sick. You're not on the healthy dot, because on the healthy dot, there is no sickness. There is absolutely no sickness, just active and passive health. And I will say since 2005, I have not done anything to keep myself healthy. It's not what I eat. It's not how I exercise. It's not what I drink. It's not any of that stuff. It's just I'm on a healthy diet. I made a declaration. I went there and I did not waver. And because I did not have time for it. As a mom of 5, I just simply had no time for that nonsense anymore. And my mind went, I heard you, consider it done. Okay, but whatever works for health works for wealth. If you're wealthy, then there's no poverty on the wealthy diet. But if you're on the poverty diet, you can gain a little bit of wealth, but you could lose it. So when you're on a certain diet, and you can define that dot of what that means. And that's why when I make a list, I don't make it on a page, I put it in a circle like it's a dot. This is the healthy dot. This is what the healthy dot looks like for me. So you want to be biologically 25 again. Number 1, or actually number 2 now, because first was define your dot, define your jump off, because you are where you are. And now you know what that looks like. So now we're going to define the reality that we want. And we're not going to accept any of the other reality from the old jump off point, and be very thankful for the jump off you. He or she was brave enough to get to the point where you made the declaration, no more, I don't have any more time for this nonsense. And then allow time and space to start delivering evidence of that for you. And like I said, for me, with not being sick anymore, it wasn't apparent right away. Maybe it was about a couple of years when I finally went, wait a minute, I haven't had a sniffle. I haven't had a sick day. I have not had a sick day since 2005. Whatever reality, whatever you're hearing this in. Okay, so get really clear on what it is that these talking points look for you. Because the mind that won't let you get specific, but then can tell you that you're not it, is ridiculous. How can you tell yourself you're not something that you don't know what it is? So take a moment and write it all down. Write the jump off down and write your finish line, right? Imagine running a race and they show you where the finish line is, but they don't give you a starting line. That would be ridiculous. We don't want to do that anymore. I want you to prove to me that you're not. I want you to prove to me that you're not 25 biologically. I want you to prove to me that you're not perfectly healthy. Because here's the little trap that you're going to run into when dealing with someone like myself. As a financial fraud investigator, but I'm a fraud investigator and I'm a trained interrogator and a profiler. The burden of proof that I had when I would go into court and I was trying to prove that someone criminally was stealing from the institution that I worked for. That's a huge burden of proof. It's beyond a reasonable doubt, not just a reasonable doubt, but beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a really strong burden of proof because we're convicting somebody of something. So I want to ask you, what are you convicting yourself of? What is the conviction that you have? Because what you think you can prove to me, what you think that you're going to say, well, here, Dee Dee, here's this proof, and I can't do this, and I can't do, and I'm going to say to you is all BS. Because if you're looking at 3D reality for proof, 3D reality that you're looking at is dead. It's in the past. It's not in the present moment. In the present moment, you get to say who you are. Who are you? And you can't serve two masters. The sitting you never stands and the standing you never sits. The sitting you has to die to become the standing you. It's there in potentiality waiting for you to sit back down, but you can't be in two states at the same time. So you're either 25 biologically or you're not. And all the real proof is your declaration in the now moment. That's it. Because I would go into court thinking I had a slam dunk case. And then I'd have my butt handed to me because I did not. Because the evidence that I gathered wasn't proof. And that's really important here, guys. What you declare, who do you say you are right now? And once you make that declaration, and people declare all the time, but I'm going to give you the special sauce that makes it different this time. You haven't totally decided. You haven't gone all in with that decision. You will allow a thought or a person or even a current experience or a past experience to define the whole version of you. But you can't prove to me that you did what you say you did, or all those things that happen, they're conceptual memories. If it's not happening in front of you right now, and even when it does happen in front of you right now, you're putting a story over it. But the moment that you start saying to yourself, I am financially independent, and the declaration, and you've gone all in, that you have defined this is who you are, and nothing and no one can tell you otherwise. It's like la 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 la, can't hear you type of thing. To the point where I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anything is coming at me. I am a brick house. You can huff and you can puff and you can try to blow the house down, but it's not going to work. I say who I am. You say who you are. Stop telling those stories, because you will always find evidence for the story that you're telling. So if I said to you right now, I want you to be very aware of yellow cars in your neighborhood. And maybe you hardly ever see yellow cars, but when you go out, whether you're walking or you're driving or you're riding a bus or whatever you're doing, you're going to start to see yellow cars when you keep reminding yourself of yellow cars, because you will always, your reticular activating center will always start looking for what it is that you want. And even if it can't deliver it to you right away, your subconscious mind will always loop around and always loop around. And I'll give you an example of how that has happened to you. Have you ever been in a conversation and you're talking about an actor and you just can't think of what his name is? And you're like, yeah, and he's in that movie, and then you can't think of the movie name. And you're trying to describe him, and he kind of sounds like every other actor that's out there when you're describing it, and you're getting frustrated because you know who he is, and you let it go, right? The conversation's over. 3 days later, you're driving in your car, and all of a sudden something said on the radio, or it just pops in your head, that's who that was. So no matter what, until the fulfillment is achieved, your subconscious mind, if you miss it this time, it'll loop it back around. It'll loop it back around. But you can't be looking for evidence that you're 25 biologically when you're telling a story that you're not. And looking at the wording that you chose, and that's the other thing as an investigator and interrogator, I hang on every word that you say, because out of all the words that you could have chosen, those were the ones that were the most important. So I want to be 25 biologically again implies that you're not, because I want to be. And the version of you, and this is so powerful, get this with me, guys. Stay here, intentionally get this right here, right now, because I know you will. I want to be never is. I want to be is always wanting to be. So each sentence has one character. And how I say this is that if you jump, the version of you that jumps, say off a step, is not the same version of you that lands, just like the sitting you is not the standing you. Jumpers jump, so the jumping you jumps and the landing you lands. But you think it's all one you. That's the wonderful virtual reality game that we're in. That every single second is a frame. And those who are seeking never find. The seekers seek, the finders find. So I stopped being the seeker and I began being a finder. And it's that simple shift. It's the same coin. It's just coming out of the ridge and going on to the other side. So I told you this is going to be easy and fun. So to me, I saw the words I want to be, but think about our relationship right now, you and I, and all my dear viewers here. We really don't know each other. So I don't want you to tell me how it's been. I want you to introduce yourself to me, how you know you are, the real you, what you would say that your finish line is. Because I'm never going to question you. Why would I question you if you tell me you're a multimillionaire and you introduce me to yourself as a multimillionaire? Then in my world, that's all I've ever known you as. Why would you tell me that I'm not, and I'm working my way there, and I used to be and I lost? Why would you do that? That's what's happening here all the time. So this now moment is so powerful that I want you to know that it's not enough just to declare it. You have to declare it, And then you have to ground into it. You have to cement yourself into that declaration that you decide you are done with anything else that is not that. You're 69, you're pulling yourself out of the version of you that's 69, and you're putting yourself into the version of you that's 25. Because you could have anything and everything you want, but you will not see it out here until you know it in here. And I want you to know it like you know something about yourself that you can't waver on. So the example that I always give is I am female, and I know I didn't have to say that to you, and I'm in a female body, and I identify as female. And I don't wake up every morning and go, oh, thank goodness I'm still female, because I know that I am, and I don't go into the mirror in the bathroom in the morning and go, oh, look at me, I'm so female. I'm going to female it today like I've never femaled it before, because it's not something that I do. It's not something that I have to become. It's who I am. And that's why I like using that example, because it's so ridiculous. So I want to be perfectly healthy. I just am. To the point, I don't have health insurance because I don't need it. It would be a waste of money. It would be a waste of time. That is how much in conviction I am of the health of who I am. And that's what I want for you guys. So we could go on and on here, but I know there are many of you that have other questions, and you put them in the comments and you need an explanation, and we'll do more videos. But my intention here for you, you're it. And the only reason we have time and space, it's not that you're convincing me. It's not that you're convincing the outside world. The only reason you don't see it now or experiencing it now is because you're still identifying with the other version of you. You can't get this wrong, but you can make it wrong. And the more contradicting thoughts you have within yourself, you're a house divided. That's what time and space is. But the moment that you let the old reality go, you have to do the shift within yourself, because until you do, the reality is going to look a lot the same. And I'll give one more example. If you bought a lottery ticket last night and you won the grand prize, so you went to bed not knowing you were the winner, or maybe you did know, but you didn't have the confirmation yet, whatever the story is. And I just said it, so you're going to go check your ticket, and you check your ticket and you've seen you won a grand prize of however many $1 million it is. Look around you. Doesn't the reality look exactly like it did before you know you were the ticket winner? It looks exactly like it did before you went to buy the ticket. So that's what confuses most people, is that something has changed, but the reality looks the same. And it's not till you put your awareness onto the ticket and the numbers that you know that you want. So right now, all of these things you bought, let's say you bought your lottery ticket for your biological, your perfect health, your financial independence, happy, and wrapping it all together. You just haven't gotten the confirmation yet, and you're still looking outside. For those, the internal winning numbers are inside. You have to go within yourself, decide it to be true, and then you start acting as that version of you. So this has really been a fun video for me. And if you're here, thank you for staying till the end. No matter what the topic is, what we talked about here will fit any topic. Nothing is certain until you are. There's a video on that on the channel. But you have to be unwavering, and you have to make the final decision that you are done with everything else, that this is the only reality, and you will accept nothing less. And we will go into other videos and break this down more and more and more, so that this doesn't end up being a 5-hour video. If you like what you heard here, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video and the channel, and check out my website, theinvincibleceo.com. There I have some digital products that you can do all by yourself. I have one-off coaching sessions. I have group coaching sessions that we probably will be starting a group sometime in March or April. And I do have 3-month total transformation programs, one-on-one programs, that 3 months from now, if you want a whole amazing life, body, the whole 9 yards, take a look at those programs. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. It is in such deep appreciation that I'm here sharing this information with you. And I totally appreciate you guys sharing your stories with me. Oh, one last thing. If you haven't yet joined our Facebook group called the Invincible CEO Circle on Facebook, there's a link in the description. All the links are in the description box below. Feel free to check those out. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the comment section. I look at them and I will answer you there. Have an amazing day, and thank you for being here. Until next time.